Hey everyone, it's Thyworm with a new roundup. The weekly part is out of the window, but apart from that, nothing has changed. Enjoying this? Consider subscribing. Let's start with Wolcen, which is nearing the end of their bug fixing era after launch. Or at least, that's what I thought until I saw the latest patch notes which contain the following message. We know that you are also waiting for additional content in the game, and our teams are already working on the first Chronicle, which will bring more content and some exciting gameplay changes that will offer more options for various builds. It will be available a few months after Second Dawn. A few months after Second Dawn, ladies and gents. Second Dawn, which is the code name for the massive bug fixing period they have entered after launch, is going to be finished in July. So a few months, that is at least 2, would be getting us new content in September at the earliest. But a few could be more than 2 as well, pushing back content as far as October or even further. A later news message revealed they wanted the first Chronicle released in autumn 2020. Autumn this year, like every year, starts in September and lasts until December. At the start of September, Wolcen Studios starts to tease what the first Chronicle, which is basically a league, will have in terms of features, gameplay, content and performance improvements. It's good to see the devs are taking the time to fix Wolcen after a rushed release and a pretty horrifying launch. I just hope it isn't too late and that people will return. I will, for sure. For me, this new Chronicle is the first true test of the devs to see how they handle a live product and how they iterate on it. This Chronicle better be good though, pretty much bug free and somehow engaging if there is any hope in reviving this game at this point in time. It has potential still, but looking at the latest communication from the devs, they need to deliver something pretty amazing to get thousands of people playing Wolcen again. Torchlight 3, on which I did a review, gets a bit of new content too. But first let's talk about a statement from Max Schaefer where he addresses the Torchlight 3 feedback. He basically acknowledges the rocky launch, which is good. The launch is however not the biggest issue of Torchlight, it is the game itself. Regarding that feedback, Max first tells us that contrary to other companies, Extra will take early access very seriously and player feedback will be taken into account. Unfortunately for Max, all companies tell us this, also the ones he is referring to as the ones not taking early access seriously. This is honestly a very tricky statement to make and may only fuel accusations of this being a cash grab instead of proving the opposite. We will see how early access is handled though, it is way too soon to tell. Max mentions a lot of the feedback was valuable and many people were right. They claim to have a modular, flexible game architecture, allowing them to easily make changes in a few months. That will be necessary because the game release is still planned for this year. Knowing how games develop by now, because I've been doing this for a while and having hands-on experience with software development, I don't see a world where they can fix Torchlight 3 before the end of the year. I do hope I'm wrong on that, or that the game gets delayed and actually makes use of early access to work on the feedback. I'm glad Max recognizes that this isn't what people wanted. Torchlight Frontiers wasn't what people wanted either, and Torchlight 3 is hardly any different, so it should be no surprise. This opinion is backed up by the Steam reviews and hundreds of critical videos and other content on Twitch or YouTube, and people just weren't very enthusiastic about the game, let's say. In other Torchlight news, they release a new patch very soon with Act 3 and contracts. That may seem impressive so soon after the launch of early access, but it's not because this already existed in the alpha. It is not new content in that regard. Still, I will check it out in its full glory. I'll play some more of this game and we'll see what it's like. I'll keep tracking this title closely because despite a negative review, I always hope that games come out on top and become good games. There's time, but if they stick to the release plans, there's not much time. I'll stream the update as well on twitch.tv/Thyworm every Monday, Thursday and Saturday. I'm streaming over there 8 PM Central European time. You can ask me anything also about Torchlight, so feel free to stop by. Children of Morta, the fabulous pixel art indie game, has a free update with a new playable character. Apan, a healing buffing witch, uses mid-range attacks with the staff and can be picked as a family member of the Bergsons. It's a character that should do particularly well in co-op, but I'm sure also with single player you're going to be fine. Free healing is always good after all. The character features many healing and shielding passives, 32 runes and 9 story cutscenes. Regarding the roadmap, the update was the third free update for Children of Morta, with 3 more free updates to go and then a paid DLC. This game is truly magnificent, you should get it, and it's also on sale right now for 13 euros. Absolutely worth it. Curse of the Dead Gods released a massive update, the Serpent's Catacombs. It is a poison-based instance with, of course, loads of traps and other miserable stuff to make your life a living nightmare. That is sort of the point of this roguelite, however, which comes highly recommended as well. The devs are creating a ton of content for it, like this dungeon with new tiers, new traps, 6 new foes, 2 new champions, 1 new boss, and 4 game modes. That is on top of an already impressive arsenal of game modes and temple instances, and there's much more on the way. Dreamscaper added another devlog. I'm pretty sure the devs saw my last video on this topic, where I commented on the first devlog and praising the glorious 4:3 aspect ratio. Now it is 16:9. It's still the same super enthusiastic dude, and it's awesome to see how happy this guy is about his own game, which is a great game, by the way. Dreamscaper is going to be amazing, there's no doubt about it, at least not in my mind. This devlog is about the new features that got added lately for the early access release. You can expect story introductions to the game, so the game might make a bit more sense. Storytelling will be episodic. Every content update there will be another story sequence added to the game. There's a new zone, the park in the waking world. Also, the apartment has states or different scenes, which means you'll see the apartment change when going through the story. A new character, Fernando, makes his appearance. There will be loadout options, which gives players some impact on what weapons and abilities you're starting out with. It might help the devs to see as well which skills are popular and which are not, which is always good data to have. There's tons of other stuff as well, like new puzzles, new lightning element that shocks and does other funky things, new modifiers for gear, particularly for ranged attacks, 5 new abilities, 5 new ranged weapons including bottle rockets and telekinesis, 2 melee weapons, an umbrella and a trident, and 13 new keepsakes. When will this be released? In July. They will tell us when this game will be released into early access. The announcement of the announcement is really gaining popularity these days. Sanctum Breach goes into a Kickstarter project to secure funding for buying assets to improve the game. Sam Keats, who is single-handedly developing this game, needs around £3,000 to buy a bunch of assets like models, special effects, and all sorts of other things that you could just get from Unreal Engine 4 as long as you pay. The Kickstarter starts July 1st and the game leaves its alpha state at the same time. This guy has a hell of a job to do and he is just by himself. It's pretty nuts, to be honest, but I'm rooting for the guy. He got help from the devs from last Epoch, as Judd, Leroy and Kyle offered their help through the Discord of Sanctum Breach. They know what it's like to start a successful Kickstarter, so hopefully they can help him reach this goal. £3,000 seems achievable, but I also get the feeling the game hasn't really picked up much traction just yet. Let's hope the goals are reached when the Kickstarter ends. I'll leave a description down below as soon as the Kickstarter goes live. Tribes of Midgard signed a publishing contract with Gearbox, which is great news for them. Funding is always a major issue for indie studios, and having a company like Gearbox backing you up, for now only for the PlayStation 5 release, is a good thing to have. It makes you wonder though what is going to happen to the PC release, where most of the testing and community currently is. It's no coincidence of course, but the game has also been delayed. It was supposed to release this year but got postponed to 2021 without giving any further information. I played the game in a few betas and it was far from complete, so I support the decision to postpone, which has undoubtedly been made easier by the Gearbox partnership. I think it's going to be a while before people get access to the game, and those who do, the Midgardians, have to sign an NDA, so no new gameplay for a while, I'm afraid, either from me or from Midgardians. I'll keep you posted on the news, however. Godfall released more gameplay in a new trailer, including commentary from the devs. Out of all the games I saw at the PC gaming show, this was one of the more promising titles. That says a lot, mainly about the PC gaming show, which was a really sad display of what the PC is incapable of. Half of the games looked like it was 2005, not only in terms of graphics, but overall. I had a rough time watching that whole show, not gonna lie. It was mostly indie titles, but then just not much interesting stuff. Back to Godfall, however, the gameplay looks very good in terms of animations. I love the movement, the fluidity of the battles and the visuals. It's described as a looter slasher, a smart variant on the looter shooter, and it could definitely work out. What concerns me the most is the frame rate, which looks like it is 30 FPS, and overall performance. The devs mentioned that this will be improved. Right now though, this doesn't look good at all, and a game like this really depends on solid, smooth 60 FPS responsive combat. combat. Only then becomes the whole dodging, slashing and looting truly intuitive, unhindered by frame drops or, god forbid, 30 FPS. I have a PC, so we're good here, but I hope the console colleagues won't have to suffer through that on the new generation consoles somewhere this year. Baldur's Gate 3 released a new trailer. Not too much to say about it at this point, but I am excited. I played a lot of these games when I was a young kid, and back in the day it was such a joy as well. I absolutely loved those games. The worlds, the massive storylines, the remarkable characters, and even the tactical combat with all its flaws. Baldur's Gate 3 looks promising, and maybe it's going to be in early access in August 2020, according to these guys themselves. Interesting stuff. Some personal gaming updates. I'm going pretty ham these days on Path of Exile, and I might actually make a video about my first impressions of this league. I'm still not sure about making that video though. It would be the first one about Path of Exile, but I'm feeling more and more confident about covering that game every now and then. And that's all I have for you this roundup. Once I gathered enough news to fill another episode, I will return. Thanks so much for watching, ladies and gents. I will see you all soon. Love you all. Bye bye.